We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. Spirit divine, come to me, feeling love, healing me. Open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love lives in me. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. Spirit divine, come to me, feeling love, healing me. Open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love lives in me. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. God is real, God is magnificent, God is light, God is love, God is real, God is magnificent, God is light, God is love, God is real, God is magnificent, God is light, God is love. God is real, God is magnificent, God is light, God is love. I am real, I am magnificent, I am light, I am love. I am real, I am magnificent, I am light, I am love. You are real, you are magnificent, you are light, you are love. You are real, you are magnificent, you are light, you are love. God is real. is light, God is love, God is real, God is magnificent, God is light, God is love. God is magnificent, God is light, God is love, God is real, God is magnificent, God is light, God is love. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. Remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who you are. I am remembering who you are.
Lighting the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people in all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and the presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them at this center, and for all religions unnamed in this ceremony.
How beautiful is that? Good morning. I'm Penelope Williams, your Director of Creative Arts. I go by she, her, hers, and I welcome each of you this morning. Good morning. If I invite you to stand with me as it feels so comfortable, or stand in spirit, and let's sing together our opening song. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Yes, the love of God is here. And so it is. Good morning. Please be seated.
Good morning. We say in the islands, morning. Okay? My name is Ife Senachinana, and my pronouns are she, her. I proudly serve as a practitioner at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center that educates and engages the seeker on their spiritual path. As a member of the global movement Centers for Spiritual Living, our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and our vision is a world that works for everyone. Whether it is your first time, you are watching from home, or you're a member, SLCA is where you belong. We are grateful for your presence this morning. For more information about today's service and ways to connect during the week, please take a moment to scan the QR code found either on the back of the seat in front of you or the one displayed on your monitor. Now is the time we recognize our SLCA youth, both attending in person today and watching online. As Nelson Mandela said, the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Please join me in affirming the youth affirmation that appears on your screen. We see and hear you. We bless and love you. We thank Spirit for you. You belong, and so it is. Thank you.
All right, all right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Pride, happy Pride. And of course, in Georgia, we get to do it twice, right? We get to celebrate Pride with everybody and then do it again in October. So that's awesome. My name is David Alexander. I'm the spiritual director here. My pronouns are he, his. And this month, we are kicking off a series on the body temple that we live, move, and have our being in. What is it? So all month long, we're going to be talking about how to appreciate the body, how to love the body, how to understand where the body is in the process of creation and its relationship to spirit. So it's going to be a wonderful month to get grounded in that wisdom. And today's affirmation for the body is this. I'll say it and then ask you to repeat it with me. My body is a divine idea in the mind of God, a temple for spirit's perfect expression. Let's say that together. My body is a divine idea in the mind of God, a temple for spirit's perfect expression. And so it is. Let's have a great day together.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Nana again. And now we're going to have the affirmative prayer. So please get comfortable in your seat, in your skin, in your body, in your mind. Relax and let go of all thoughts of the iron unplugged, the stove off. Let it all go. We're here, we're now. And in this moment, we know that God is. Spirit is. In the narrative, we're told that God scooped into the earth, created a form, breathed into it, and man became a living being. And so as that living being, I am the perfect creation of the divine. I have the divine within me. I am divine. And knowing this, I let conditions just bounce off of me because I know that the divine mind is accessible to me. I know that divine healing, restoration is mine. And so I let go of things and I allow this body that knows my perfect state and my perfect design, that made by the perfect architect, it restores and it returns to that. And I can be a part of that restoration. I can be a part of that regeneration. I can choose to live holy. I can choose to live fully, to be unstoppable, to know that whatever is happening at this moment is divinely in order, and that I have the wherewithal to rise above it because I am a transformative being. I am just so happy to be alive, so happy to have life, so happy to have family and friends. I'm so happy that even after all these years, my body restores and goes back to the original plan and works and tries to do its very best. And I cooperate with it by giving right food, right thoughts, right action, and it takes care of itself. I am grateful for this center and the teaching. It has really shaped who I am in my life. And I just love the teachings and the principles that I can experiment with and try on and fall down and get up again and try it again. And some things I master and some things I am still working them through. But I am grateful for this opportunity. I am grateful for the breath that just continues to breathe me so that I show up and I can be my best, knowing that the best is the one who created me. I give thanks for the teaching, for the board, for our beloved Reverend David, for the entire board, for all of the arts, for the music, for each and every one of you sitting in these seats and each and every one of you in the virtual community who supports us and who comes here every day for your feeding. And you know that this is a big meal and there's more than enough and you're welcome. So knowing this, we know that all is well. And I release these words into the law, knowing that they return to me multiplied abundantly and never void. And I entreat you to join with me as we anchor this together by saying, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Penelope. Thank you, Nana. Wonderful. Take a deep breath. Welcome your body temple and yourself here again. We're delighted to have each of you with us and everybody watching us on Facebook and YouTube. As I mentioned earlier, we're kicking off Pride Month around the country and around the world. So we have members here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta that reside in Texas and in Oregon and in California and Alabama, and so in all those places, either this weekend or in the weekends to come, Pride is kicking off, and so we celebrate with you. Happy Pride, and we hope you enjoy the festivities. And as I said, we get to do it twice here because we're extra in Atlanta. We could celebrate with whoever we want to celebrate with, however we want to do that, and then we'll do it again in October when it's a little cooler, I understand. That's the premise of that, right? Good morning again. It's great to have you all with us. Reverend Valencia, hi. How are you? Good. Welcome home. Welcome home. You know, one of the beautiful things of pastoring this community is understanding the legacy of SLCA. How many ministers, how many people have come through Kennedy and through Gagne and David Alt and now just the tip of the iceberg of myself, the legacy of 42 years. And when I travel and when I'm at our conventions, hearing how many people have roots with SLCA. And so when you're here, you're home, your family, and so welcome home. Now, if you had told me you were coming, I would have given you some kind of assignment, which is exactly why she didn't tell me nothing. So I know how it goes. All right, well, let's dive in together. Let me make sure all my gadgets are working this morning. Yes, they are. Beautiful. So this month, as we explore how to live an everyday wonder has been the theme for the year, and how to incorporate that into the body temple, the body that you have right now as an expression of God. Knowing that as we learn how to love it, how to care for it, how to learn about it, how to listen to it, we come into a closer contact with the divine itself. So the title today is Welcome to the Temple. And I couldn't get the song out of my head. I guess I watched too much baseball. I want to have like a walk-up song for my sermon. I sang it to Penelope, which I'm sure was the highlight of her week. Welcome to the temple. We got what you need. All right, anyway. Anybody else do that when you saw the title? It was just me. Okay. So as we celebrate and understand what the body really is, spiritually and metaphysically, then we come into that closer contact and create a better experience of our life in every regard. And so that's what I want to begin to unpack today. We begin by understanding what we mean when we say body in a metaphysical and spiritual context. I've got my pulpit edition of the Science of Mind text by Ernest Holmes. Don't get afraid, the gold leafing. It's just a pretty version because my study version has fallen. If I brought it up here, pages would fall on the floor and everything else. But that's the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, one of our main texts. And he says a lot of things in there about the body. It's the 3rd chapter in the book. And he essentially says the body is the outpicturing of spirit. The simplest way to remember it. When we speak about metaphysically, we talk about the process of creation and our view and orientation of the universe being threefold: spirit, mind, and body. Puts it in a circle. You've seen the Science of Mind symbol before, and it begins looking like this. And there's a chart like this in the textbook, and Ernest describes it. And the first thing to remember is that the circle is God. God is all there is, no beginning, no end. And of course, it's just a symbol, because as soon as you start using language, right, as soon as you start drawing pictures, no matter how good they are at describing something, they're just a symbol of what you're trying to describe. So of course, we can see in the circle there's an outside and an inside, but a circle is always a symbol of completion, no beginning, no end, right? Allness, wholeness, cycle of complete. So the circle is God, and then the Trinity, if you will, and it's not that we believe that there are 3 distinct aspects so much as they're all part of the one. Much like your body, you've got a skeletal system and a nervous system and your organs and et cetera, right? You've got different aspects, and as you examine each of those aspects, you can learn more, you can better serve the body temple, you can better understand what's going on, right? The plants have a stem and a leaf and roots. And those are all distinct aspects. As we understand those, we can look at it and see if it's healthy or not. This one down here needs a little help. And that's right. So we can see and try to understand what's going on. Right. So spirit, mind, body is how Ernest Holmes defines this. And the body is the last part. It's there at the bottom because it's the expression of. So everything begins in spirit. You've seen the Science of Mind symbol, which I didn't put up on here for you, but it has that V going through it, right? Ernest Holmes' middle name was not Victor. It's a symbol of the process of creation, going from spirit into body, right? From idea into manifestation. So the important thing to remember about this is that he says in the text, the entire manifestation of spirit, both visible and invisible, is the body of God. The entire manifestation of spirit, both visible and invisible, is the body of God. So body is the expression of spirit made manifest. It includes invisible because there are aspects that we can't see. You can't see atoms, can you? You can only see their expression. Right? You can't see the nucleus and you got to get some really high-powered, microscopes and different things to see all of that stuff, right? So everything seen and unseen is the expression of spirit. I'm going to take this slow this week because we're going to spend all month on this, but it's really important that we understand where the body is in relation to this process of creation, because we live in a world that it's a three-dimensional physical object world, and we make a lot of noise and big deal about the body, what it should look like and how it should act and what it shouldn't do, and policing bodies and governing bodies and all of those sorts of things, right? We make a big deal out of it as if it was the thing itself rather than the end product or the effect of something that's behind it. Am I making sense so far? So it's really important to understand this. Holmes again goes on to say, body is always an effect, never a cause. Body expresses intelligence. It's apparent intelligence being lent by the consciousness which permeates it. We would not say that consciousness is in the body, but rather that the body is in consciousness. Oh, that's really good right there. Let's break that down for a minute. The body is in consciousness, right? It's summertime. You might spend some time at a pool in the next couple of weeks, right? Your body is in the consciousness of the pool, in the water, right? The water permeates. 70% of your body is water, so the consciousness is in you as well. It's everywhere. It's all thing, right? But the body is manifesting in consciousness. It's not the other way around. So we are intelligent beings, not because our physical anatomy is wired such that we are producing intelligence or evolutionary consciousness, but rather intelligence and evolutionary consciousness produced us. You with me? Very important. So that consciousness is, and then out of that, things are expressed, right? Nana mentioned the story of creation in the Bible, which is one of many creation stories, and in many ways an amalgamation of different stories throughout history. And that story is, even in its translation into English, which of course is not the first way that it was told, still has very profound intelligence for us, right? This idea that the body exists in consciousness. Because it says that God is. God said, and then there was. So there's this intelligence that is, and then things come out of that. I've broken down that story many times over the years in my teaching, and I always like to point out a couple of things each time I do it. One is that the process of creation has a pattern to it. In the story in Genesis, it'll say there was dark, and then there was light the first day. There was dark, and then there was light the second day. There was dark, and there was light the third day, so on and so forth. And so the day begins with what we consider to be the end. Now, y'all didn't catch that? Said the day begins, creation begins with what we consider the end. We say the end of the day, dark, we're going to bed. That's the beginning of creation. Where did you come from? Out of the dark place. Where does the seed emerge out of? Out of the dark place of the soil. Where does all of creation come from? Out of the dark place. We like to romanticize the light and talk about the light as being the thing, when it's actually the dark underneath and behind that everything comes out of. So there's a sacred pattern that's present in that story. Dark and light, first day, so on and so forth. But more importantly, for today, the intelligence is there. And then these different planes of creation, right? So God creates the water and the land and the air. And then in the next 3 days, infuses each of those planes of existence, if you will, with more creation. And giving each of those creations, fish in the water, birds in the air, animals, trees, and eventually people on the land, and giving each of those things the ability, endowing them with the creative process to create after their kind. So the fish create after their kind, the birds after their kind, you and I after God kind, that which created us, right? So the body, in every case, what we're learning, and we're seeing in that pattern over and over again, is that the body exists in a greater consciousness. Got it? Very important. Why is this important? Well, because the whole premise of the healing aspect and the spiritual mind treatment of our movement is resting on this idea. Quimby was this guy back in the mid-1800s. If you don't know him, Phineas Parker's Quimby. Look him up. Great photograph. He's got some lamb chops that'll really impress you. And he was a clockmaker and yada, yada. We're going to go into his whole story today. But his whole premise of what began our notion of spiritual mind treatment begins in this idea that consciousness is intelligence, that there's an intelligence in the invisible, and that everything physical is a manifestation of that. And therefore, to fix, to heal, to adjust, to have a different experience on the outside, on the physical plane, you have to go back to the invisible plane and start there. It's what we call first cause, right? Start with first cause. And so he, after seeing demonstrations of hypnotism being done from Anton Mesmer and his students, he began to say, well, there's something happening here mechanically in the consciousness that there is a automatic law being followed by the mind, and that the body is demonstrating or revealing what is suggested to it in the subjective, right? So he began to experiment with that. You can read all about his case studies and everything in a wonderful work written by his students called the Quimby Manuscripts, thousands of cases of healing. But the whole premise is that he sat with people and said, there is an invisible body that is whole, perfect, and complete. The invisible body doesn't know sickness. The invisible body, the body that is in spirit, is whole, perfect, and complete, always has been, always will be. As you align with that truth, as you remind yourself that that's the case, then, and here's where the healing part comes in, the physical body, as your consciousness is convinced, anchored in, and seeped in that awareness, the physical will have no choice but to align and shift with that truth. It will have no choice because it is the outpicturing of consciousness first, right? And so our whole premise of healing is, as a movement, is anchored in this body awareness. I got to not talk so much without moving my notes because my screen turns off. Now, what does this mean? It means that your body exists in the consciousness that you are. Your body exists in the consciousness that you are. You can close your eyes right now. You can think about yourself. You can think about yourself sitting in this room, feeling the chair. You could even observe yourself from a distance, maybe even physically see yourself, either above you or behind you or some other space besides being right in the center of your being. It's like the video games that my son plays on his iPad. With driving games, and I can change the camera. I can be in the cab of the car, or I can be above it, and I can see better, and I can drive the car better, right? I can change the camera angle. We can do that in our consciousness. We can see ourselves. And then, watch this, you can even see yourself seeing yourself. How about that? Who is that? It's not the body. You're seeing yourself seeing yourself. So there is a consciousness called you that exists eternally. You're using this body temple. Now, this does not mean that the body plane is not real or should not be taken seriously, but rather that the body is a demonstration and therefore should be listened to very carefully, tuned into. So today we start off this series by saying, welcome to the temple, an orientation to what we are as a body. Welcome to the temple. How important is this that we get this very simple but very important orientation right in our consciousness? How much body shaming is there in the world today? A ton of it, right? It's everywhere. And we've made great strides and improvements, right? There are more expressions of diverse bodies and in media and things than there ever have been than there are probably when we grew up. But there's still a long way to go, and there's still a predominant consciousness that pervades our collective, particularly in Western society, but in most of the world, around what our bodies should be, what they should look like, how they should behave, etc. Males have it for what it looks like to be a man or male. Females have it, and how wonderful that we're starting this series at the beginning of Pride, because so much of the wisdom that we've gained out of how to adjust this series, looking for something. How to adjust this orientation comes from the LGBT community, the trans community, the acceptance of diversity of bodies, the acceptance of diversity of expression and gender expression, sexual orientation, etc. Right? So how wonderful that this series dovetails with that, right? So most of us have grown up with social messaging that our bodies are not acceptable for one reason or another, that we're what? Too fat, too thin, too short, too tall, too brown, too black, too white, too one thing or another. We may have an idea about how our body should look or operate, what we're feeding it, what we're not feeding it. But in this moment, we're to accept the idea that it is perfect as it is. I just want you to take that in for a moment. Take a breath. It's perfect as it is. Let that narrative of that tape that's playing about what you should be doing or should not be doing, or this and that, and comparing to, right? Even as there's great diversity of expression of bodies that's more and more happening in media and messaging, there's still the care and tending to that body. Your body needs to be better moisturized, and your teeth need to be whiter, and your hair needs to be I don't know, clearly I'm not getting that one, but, right? All of these things, right? And what are all of those things? What are all of those thoughts? They're all thoughts in consciousness. And so how do they show up in the world? This is why getting this right today is so important, why I'm kind of going very carefully and slow with it, because I want you to understand. All of those things are thoughts. In the process of creation, spirit, mind, body, the thoughts are in spirit, and then the thoughts show up in body. So where do all of those thoughts about perfection, imperfection, measuring up, not measuring up, where do all of those things manifest? In the body. Not just our physical bodies, but the body. Remember, body is everything, seen and unseen, the manifestation of spirit. So the body of our politics, the body of our environment, the body of what's available in the grocery store, the body of the experience in the world, the body of how our communities are set up. Can we still talk about Buffalo and the fact that it's still a food desert? That the one grocery store that the gunman went to was the only grocery store available, right? Those things show up in our body. When we add, because they're all thoughts, when we add God or religion as uses to sanctify pre-existing toxic thinking, right? We see it. It's happened to black people, to Irish people, to Japanese people, to Muslim people, to interracial couples, to day laborers, to Native Americans, to a host of others, right? How important it is that we understand where all of this comes from and how we get it right. Sonia Renee Taylor, in her wonderful book, The Body is Not an Apology, says this: racism, sexism, ableism, homo and transphobia, ageism, the first one was ableism, if I said ageism. Ageism, fat phobia are all algorithms created by humans struggling to make peace with the body. A radical self-love world is a world free from the systems of oppression that make it difficult and sometimes deadly to live in our body. So all of these issues, when I tend to talk a lot about social justice issues, all of those things are manifestations of internalized dis-ease, discomfort, disconnected thoughts about the body. Why in the world would anybody spend any time trying to govern somebody else's body unless they were uncomfortable with their own? Oh, I'm talking to somebody today. Got to understand the power of what we do when we talk about putting ourselves in right relationship to our body, because that is the work that heals the entire body. Not just your entire body, but the entire body. When white men in Congress and Senate are too busy governing other people's bodies, there is a healing that needs to take place with their own understanding of their connection to the body, right? And we see it all the time. I'm not picking on anybody. I could choose either party, but we see it in the scandals that pop up. What happens? They spend all this time governing and pontificating about how other people's bodies should be governed, and then what happened? What's happening in their closet? What websites and apps have they been on? And we see it happen over and over and over again. They get in trouble. Uh-oh. I was just hearing something driving in today about a Catholic priest being caught on Tinder or something. Was it Tinder? What was it? Huh? Grindr. Oh, okay. Well, that. A Catholic priest. But anyway, but are we surprised with the Catholic tradition of severing itself from the wisdom of the body? Expecting that severing to be manifest in the priest itself and how they carry themselves, to not be connected to the body. And yet we wonder that why all this toxicity rises up and manifests itself. It all goes back to consciousness. Again, Sonia Renee Taylor says, a radical self-love world is a world that works for every body. Right? For all bodies, for all body types, for all body expressions, for every body. A radical self-love world is a world that works for every body. Creating such a world is an inside job. How we value and honor our own bodies impacts how we value and honor the bodies of others. Our own radical self-love, reconnection, is the blueprint for what author Charles Einstein calls the more beautiful world that our heart knows is possible. Our own radical self-love and reconnection is the blueprint for what author Charles Einstein calls the more beautiful world our heart knows is possible. Another quote, I don't think I got it up there. She said, "It is through our own transformed relationship with our bodies that we become champions for other bodies on our planet." It is through our own transformed relationship with our bodies that we become champions for other bodies on the planet. Why? Because we are starting out from a place of healthy orientation. So the self-love, the self-acceptance, the work of saying, I am the temple, I am the place where God shows up. My body is a manifestation of the divine ideas of God. My body is a temple for Spirit's perfect expression. Because I know that to be the truth for myself, I have to know that to be the truth for every body, for all bodies everywhere. And suddenly the desire to govern, legislate, or care what other people are doing with their bodies or not doing with their bodies begins to go away. Because I'm busy taking care of mine. And Lord knows we all got enough work to do on our own, right? Which is not about measuring up and trying to perform to somebody else's expectation, but simply taking care of our own. Let me put it this way. Let's say you want to make some cookies. What do you need to make cookies? Flour, butter, eggs, chocolate chips, I heard the kids say. Amen. Praise the Lord. Dark chocolate chips. Right? So we need the ingredients. We need flour, egg, milk, sugar, chocolate chips, or whatever else we're going to put in it. Raisins, God forsake you. Blasphemer. Well, whatever it is, right? You need the ingredients. And then you need what? You need a recipe. You need a way that those all go together, a process. You need the ingredients, you need the recipe, and then what do you get when you put the ingredients and the recipe together? You get the product. Cookies! Cookies! William knows. You get cookies. Right? You get the end product. Now, what happens if you take a bite of that cookie and it doesn't taste right? You toss them in the garbage, somebody said. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Do you shame the cookie? Watch it now. Right? Do you shame the cookie? No. If you want, and now let's say you've determined that that batch of cookies isn't going to be right for the party or the guests or even your family or whatever, and so now you need to start over because they're coming. What do? How do you fix the process? Change the recipe. You figure out, well, does this have too much this in it, too much that, not enough that? Probably not enough butter if I'm guessing anything, right? But you change the recipe. You don't shame the cookie. There's no amount, even if you said this cookie's bad and all these cookies are bad, I'm going to throw them out. No amount of talking about that is going to make better cookies. Come on, talk to me, somebody. You got to change the recipe to get a different result. Notice that no amount of guilt or shame changes anything. You got to go back to first cause and say, what is contributing to what is outpicturing here? So if I want to change the end product, I've got to change the inside. I've got to change the ingredients. I've got to change the consciousness. I've got to change the way in which they're set up. There are no bad cookies. The bad cookies are just the process of the byproduct of what created them. Right? They are the bad cookies. Trust me, there are plenty of cookies that I won't eat. I mentioned, you put raisins in it. I'm like, that ain't a cookie, right? That's a snack of some other kind, right? But there are no bad cookies. They're just perfect cookies that are byproducts of the process they have been through. There are no bad bodies. There are bodies that are the process of the process that they have been through. There are no bad outcomes. There are just outcomes that are the process of the byproduct of the process that they've been through. But if we determine, and we are allowed to determine, that we want a different outcome, then shaming and blaming and pointing fingers and doing all of that isn't going to do us any good. We've got to change the recipe. We've got to change the ingredients. We've got to figure out where we have misstepped in the process of creating the world that works for everyone. If we look out and we say, the world isn't working for everybody right now, there is no amount of shame or blame or guilt or talking about that in that way, in that context, that is going to fix anything. But if we want a different result, if we want schools to be safer for our children, if we want grocery stores to be safer for our elderly, if we want the world to be a safer place, if we want the government out of the business of women governing their own bodies, if we want different outcomes in these areas, then shaming and blaming people about the conversation isn't the way to go. The way to go is to talk about what are the ingredients that led to that outcome. Right? What is the world that we have co-created in which allowed that byproduct, that outcome to manifest itself? And how do we reverse engineer it so that we can get it right in consciousness first and then adjust from there? You following what I'm saying? So the value in this first week, this first step in radical self-love, is to listen to the body. Because the body, in every form that it exists in the body temple, the body of the world around us, is the end product of spirit, mind, body, the process of creation. That means that everything that is manifest has intelligence in it. It has intelligence in it. It has information in it. The cookie has the information in it that says, this is what you put in this cookie. Right? You bite it, you get that information. Sugar, butter, chocolate chip, whatever. What the heck is that? Right? you get the information. It doesn't have guilt, shame, it doesn't have blame, it doesn't have any of those other things in it. It has information. And so we got to look at the world in a way that says, are we listening to the end product? Are we listening to the information that is coming from our own bodies, from the body of the world around us? And if we are, then we're saying thank you to that information. And we're going back and we're saying, now, what do I need to adjust? What do I need to heal? What do I need to clean up? What do I need what conversation do we need to have as a community so that that doesn't happen again? Right? I said last week with gun violence, I said we have to stop pretending like there are no good answers. We just have to cut that out. That's nonsense in this country. Right? We've got to stop pretending like, oh, well, there's no good answer because, there's just this side and that side and we're just never going to get it solved and you can't take all the, well, yeah, you can do that, but then what about all the guns that are already on the street? As if Australia and the UK and Canada and, I don't know, half a dozen other countries around the world surrounding all of us haven't already figured this out. We've got to stop pretending like there are no good answers, right? Well, we just don't know what to do. It's just going to have to be that way. We have to stop disempowering ourselves through not listening to the information that's coming from the body around us, right? If your body's telling you something, you say, well, there's just nothing I can do. I don't know. I'm just going to, right? And your doctor's telling you, and other people have changed to this and done this, and it's had this effect, but you block out all that science, all that research, all your friends telling you, no, just drink more water. Oh, well, I don't know, just not going to happen, I guess. Are you going to be surprised if the effects don't change? No. We have to start listening to the body around us. The body is communicating through our race relations, it's communicating through our children, it's communicating through every headline that's on the news, it's communicating through the environment, it's communicating through gas prices, it's communicating through everything that's happening. The body is speaking loudly to us. The question is, are we listening? Are we taking time to say, what does the body have to say to me here? And what do I need to adjust in my consciousness such that we get a different outcome? Our bodies are not simply living machines. They are the temples in which God is able to live, breathe, move, and have its being and its way through us, responsive to our thoughts. Our bodies are more than vessels for us to drive around, but are dynamic, expressive creations. The pain and trauma that we push away with our minds often gets stuck in our body. And the only way to release it is to feel it. Collective pain and trauma that our world is going through gets stuck in the collective consciousness and in our collective body. And the only way to release it is to feel it. In order to truly live in harmony with our bodies, we have to listen. And once our body no longer has to shout through pain to be heard, then it can share with us the deep wisdom and intuition that it's designed to give us. We're going to stop there for today because I want us to just marinate in that awareness. And we're going to build on this each week through as we go. We're building on the idea that one, that your body is perfect exactly how it is right now. And that two, that your body is a divine tool that is always producing a message. It's perfect just the way that it is, because everything, just as the cookies, are perfect because they are the outcome of the ingredients or the process that they went through. The question is, what is the message that it's giving? And is that in alignment with the desire that you have? The desire that you have for your body, the desire that you have for your body of relationship, the desire that you have of your body of finances, the desire that you have of your body of work in the world, the body that you have in community, right? Body at all levels of awareness in body. So one, your body is perfect exactly the way that it is. And two, it is a divine messenger. And so our practice this week is to listen to the body. How might we move in our life differently if we knew these two things to be true? How can we work towards becoming friends with our body and listening to its voice. I would suggest that it starts today with our affirmation. My body is a divine idea in the mind of God, a temple for Spirit's perfect expression. Take a breath, and let's affirm together. My body is a divine idea in the mind of God, a temple for Spirit's perfect expression. Again, my body is a divine idea in the mind of God, a temple for Spirit's perfect expression. And so it is. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
This day I awoke with a passion in my heart, a feeling of longing, a thirst so strong. I want to be better, an opening for God to make me stronger. My prayer today is for courage to be what the Holy Spirit intends for me. I want to be better, an opening for God to make me stronger. Make me patient when I worry, make me calm when there is strife, make me loving when my heart is hard, make me forgiving when I would be right, make me forgiving. My prayer today is for courage to be what the Holy Spirit intends for me. I want to be better, an opening for God to make me stronger. Stronger to reveal more peace. I must be patient to reveal more love. I must be humble to reveal more power. Make me stronger to reveal more peace, more joy, more joy, more peace, more love, more joy, more joy, more peace, more love, more joy, more joy, more peace, more love, more joy, more joy. I want to be better, an opening for God to make me stronger. This is my prayer today. Oh God.
Wonderful cookies out here. It's time to acknowledge our first-time visitors. If this is your first time at SLCA, we invite you to stand so we may welcome you. When our ushers are handing you a gift just for you, please join a welcome ambassador for fellowship in the lobby following service. Thank you for choosing the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta as part of your celebration today. As we enter our time for grateful giving, we want to thank each of you that faithfully gives to SLCA. It is because of your contributions that we can continue to spread our message of oneness. If you were inspired by this message today, please consider becoming a recurring pledger or give what is on your heart today. You can conveniently text your gift to 404-800-5255 9467. You may also give a credit card on our website or by using our digital program with the QR code displayed on the screen. If you wish to give check or cash, our ushers will be coming through the aisles shortly to receive your contribution. So now as you hold your pledge card or gift to your heart, please join me in saying our grateful giving affirmation. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Thank you.
Connect, grow, serve, and give, living life where you belong. Connect, grow, serve, and give, loving everyone. You belong.
All right. Thank you, Penelope. Thank you, Reverend David. My goodness gracious. My body is alive right now. Thank you. I am Victoria Peoples, and I serve as a practitioner here at SLCA. I'm excited to tell you about the opportunities to connect, grow, serve, and give at our center. For more information about today's announcements, please take a moment to scan the QR code found either on the back of the seat in front of you or the one displayed on your monitor. Remember to check our weekly email newsletter on Monday for all the ways to connect with SLCA during the week. If you aren't currently receiving the newsletter and would like to, please speak to one of us following the service. Now, as we celebrate Pride Month, we want our LGBTQIA plus community. I had to ask what the I stood for. It stands for inquiry. So I'm an inquiry plus. Anyway, we want our LGBTQIA plus community to know that we see you, we hear you, we stand with you, we love you, and you belong. SLCA will have a booth this year at the Atlanta Pride Festival in October, and there will be many opportunities for each of us to connect and serve with our community. Join us on June 19th, which is also Juneteenth, and that's Father's Day too, right? Okay. Wow, that's a big day. Join us after service for our bake sale fundraiser. All proceeds will go towards our booth at the festival this year. Now, are you ready to learn how to cultivate your soul's currency and create greater fulfillment and abundance in your life? Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Each Thursday evening in the month of June, Reverend Avon Drummond will offer soul currency. This method was developed by Reverend Ernie Chu and will use his book, Soul Currency. Join Reverend Avon as you invest in your inner wealth. So register today. Is meditation a part of your spiritual practice? Yes. Only one person? Yes. Yes, okay, thank you. Grow with Reverend Ursula Latini every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in person at SLCA or via Zoom. Also, get ready for your next opportunity to serve our greater community. On June 12th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., we will join our friends at UUCA here at SLCA. Okay. For our Pet and People food drive. Diaper donations are also welcome for the young and old. We would like to thank our loyal pledgers and each of you that faithfully give to SLCA to find ways to connect, grow, serve, and give. Visit our digital program or our information wall in the lobby after service. Will our practitioners please stand? Okay, thank you. Yes, we are here for you, okay? And make yourself known on the online chat at this time to be recognized as well. We welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in the room or reach out to a practitioner online for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. In-person practitioners will be available on both sides of the room following service. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Yes, Victoria. Will you join with me? Let's stand and sing our closing song. And we invite you to enjoy the refreshments. They just are so beautiful today. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone. Everyone, everyone. Make sure you drop by and say hello. Don't go away too soon. Everyone, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.